with that, I'd like to hand over to Dara Melnyk and Isak Frumin. Enjoy.
Very happy to be here. For me, this is the second time speaking at the University Future Festival, and it's truly one of the most exciting events in higher education. So I will begin. Let me just start sharing the presentation, and then Isak will pick up. First, just a couple of words about us. I deal with innovative universities, and Isak is an expert in comparative higher education. So we combined those two perspectives to bring you this talk about 10 lessons from innovative universities. Oh, well, first, before I get to the first lesson, why we decided to speak about this in the first place. We have been collecting cases of innovative universities, both of us, for quite a while now. And innovative universities are higher education institutions that go about teaching or research or both differently. But we believe that what they do and what we've learned from interactions with them can actually be useful not just for innovative universities, but basically for any university, because well, they are bolder and do riskier things than others. Isak, do you want to add something here?
Yes, I just want to mention that we collect these cases of universities through quite long and in-depth interviews at our webinar. You can find it on in YouTube. We have now a collection of more than 30 interviews with the leaders of innovative universities. And it's interesting that often our webinars are attended or viewed by people from traditional universities, because there are quite a lot in the experience of innovative universities that can be used in any university. And why? You can learn during our presentation.
Okay, so lesson number one. For a lot of innovative thinkers, being bold is important. You dream of doing things differently, ideally doing everything differently. But what we know from successful cases, not just of innovative universities, but innovations in higher education, the ones that work best actually balance boldness and legitimacy, or let's say standard formats. And they tend to innovate within recognizable formats, creating something new somewhere there in between in how they're interpreted and how they're, well, reconstructed. So here we have a quote from Paul Sterzel from University College Freiburg, who's saying that, well, you have to, when you start innovating, you have to understand what is expected, what is the current conversation. And then you can play in that line, in that sweet spot between standardization and full-blown creativity. If that is done, then it's easier to actually start doing something completely new on the base of this starter innovation, so to say. Okay, then the second lesson, Isak.
Yeah, let me jump to the second lesson. And it was quite surprising for me that innovations at universities are not as expensive as you think. Often we think that, okay, we need to invest a lot to change something. But I like the example of African Leadership University, excellent university that practice what they call frugal innovation, where they try to find interesting solutions, innovative solutions for the problems where many other universities just put more money. And but by the way, also you can be innovative in the way where you get your money. For example, another interesting university, quite rich, by the way, Tec de Monterrey from Mexico, they invented a special lottery where they collect money for the universities to bring some additional revenue in.
That being said, universities still, well, sorry. Oh, just give me 1 second. Okay, there we go. All right. Apologies about that. That being said, innovations still require a lot of resources, and it's not just about funding. It's also about effort, time of people, their attention, and most importantly, trust. And because of that, they better be worth it. So each time you're thinking about introducing something new, you have to understand that change management takes a heavy toll on the organization and on its people. And some universities actually innovate to become more cost effective and to make things more affordable. So for instance, we've got this wonderful example of New University in Washington, D.C., which offers the most affordable bachelor's in an offline liberal arts college in the country. Okay. Isak?
Another important resource for innovative universities and any innovations in traditional universities as well is people. And unfortunately, innovation process makes people fragile. So you must care for them more. It's quite difficult. The majority of innovative universities that we have looked at, they suffer from high staff attrition. Many people like changes, but they also like to see the fruits as soon as possible. It's not always the case. And many people do not like changes, especially if they grew up in a very stable system. So one of the very important lessons is care about people, recognize their achievements, and make them believe that the best is ahead.
And I would also add here that it's important to be genuinely open to listening to issues people are facing. Not nominally open, not just say that my door is always open for you, but actually to truly be ready to have those uncomfortable conversations.
Yes, by the way, Dara, speaking about that, I would add that what we found that in majority places, it's not enough to have one leader. You have to build a team. Even it could be small, 2-3 persons, but it's extremely important. Okay, let's go to the next lesson.
Indeed. So nothing can limit innovations as much as calls for standardization or, moreover, mixed messages from the government that leave universities unsure that innovations would be perceived well, that they would not be punished for them. And when that happens, universities tend to choose to play on the safe side. And maybe that's something that you've faced at your institutions as well. So our call here is nothing can support innovation better than autonomy. And it's important for every university to work towards making regulations more innovation friendly, because every innovation is basically a new order of things. And a new order, anything new, can only emerge out of freedom.
Yes, by the way, speaking about this autonomy, we are talking about autonomy for different people also within the university, different divisions within the university. When you introduce, as we have heard from former president of Olin College in the United States, when you introduce any new regulation, think what it's going to limit in terms of innovative ideas, and try to make ways to keep their doors for innovations open.
But, for example, you can create a special division that is directly responsible only for inventing and implementing new ideas. And supporting that is basically supporting experimentation in your university strategy. Okay.
Yeah. I like very much the one lesson that we have learned from first from Rubana Hook, who is the president of Asian University for Women. It's fantastic, very interesting organization in Bangladesh. You may wish to watch our video interview with her. And she said very simple thing. She said, if you have mad idea, it's very good, but please have a method to your madness. And the idea is very simple. Just try not to put the end goal only. I'm going to solve a problem of students' interest, or I'm going to increase opportunities for underserved groups, etc., etc. Try to experiment using clear plan and milestones. It sounds very trivial, but you would be surprised to know how many interesting innovations failed because they didn't spend time to think about the details.
So the next lesson will be slightly controversial. And it's about disruption. Disruption has dominated our thinking. The idea of a disruptive innovation, the framework of disruptive innovations has dominated our thinking for actually over a decade by this point. But disruption is potentially dangerous. It might lead to displacement of organizations and jobs, to processes stalling, and so on. And actually, the most successful cases of innovative universities and innovations in higher education that we looked at typically go for a bit of a gentler, less flashy approach, which makes them more sustainable in the long run. And it also makes it easier for them to collaborate with other universities because they are not disrupting their processes, they are augmenting them, they're adding to them, they're helping them upgrade whatever is going on in other institutions. So the lesson here is disrupt, of course, but only if you must.
Yeah, by the way, Dara, I would mention that there was a big, the word disruptive innovation, the phrase was very fashionable for a long time. And Clive Christiansen, who introduced it to the field of higher education, in his book about disruptive, innovative universities, he gave a few examples of the innovations that should disrupt completely the sector of higher education in the nearest future. And when you examine it today, you would see that it didn't work like that because many processes are much more stable than we think. They have very solid ground. So when you do something, you may try to do it on the green field. That's a very important concept. Green field within the brown field, or you want to try it gradually. It sounds also maybe strange from us because we were very excited about disruptive innovations in the beginning, but then we realized that you can introduce even one small thing and it will give huge impact without disrupting the whole process.
It actually connects to the previous lesson. Have a method to your madness.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
All right. Next one.
That's my favorite lesson. It's not maybe lesson for innovative universities because most of them have already orientation into the future. But maybe it's a good lesson for policymakers and leaders or managers and practitioners in today's universities that innovations will take universities into the future. Universities are very old institutions and they remarkably similar. it's fun. It's really, when you go, I visited recently very old Jesuit college, now part of Genoa University. And I went to one of the classrooms, and there was a picture of this classroom 150 years ago, and it's the same. But still we think that the question, what will take us into the future is very important. So innovations allow us to think about the future. And we have now, as universities, we have a lot of competition with online platforms, with micro-credentials offered by different agencies. So we need to think how to deal with future. And in order to do that, it's good to look at innovation landscape around. And frankly speaking, we had a conversation with a representative of Coimbra Group. Coimbra Group is an association of universities, eldest universities in Europe. They include Coimbra University in Portugal, Oxford, Cambridge, Bologna. And it's very interesting that they think that innovations help them survive.
All right. But building upon that, universities, being old, contain a lot of very exciting ideas in their histories and in methods, some of which have been forgotten and some of which keep being repackaged. Like liberal arts education has had at least 4 different renaissances through the history of higher education. So the message here that universities, already can go into their own practices and figure out what they had been doing, what they were doing in the past, what can be dusted off and maybe used now. So one of the nice examples is Forward College. When we were talking to them, they mentioned that they lean into relational pedagogy, apart from a deep integration with tech. And relational pedagogy is a methodology that derives insights for students and derives learning and learning outcomes out of interaction between students and teaching, out of this relationship between the learner and the instructor, which is a very old idea. It goes quite deep, maybe into the Oxford tradition, maybe even deeper, maybe into ancient Greek tradition. So some methods can always be reimagined for the modern times, which is a hopeful thing for you if you are thinking about introducing something original at your university and then sharing it with other institutions. You might already have it. You might not need to invent it from scratch. Okay, and we just have one lesson left.
But this is a very important lesson. It's not the least important. And you know what's interesting, that we found that when we decided to do this webinar and we started, and the idea was to ask leaders of innovative universities to give us 1-hour interview, to put it on YouTube. We thought that they would be reluctant to tell us about their secrets, because universities compete with each other. That's the fact. But also universities are interested, kind of naturally interested, in talking what they are doing, about what they are doing, and to use feedback to improve themselves. So that's also a very important lesson. As our recent speaker, Stefan Spinelli, president of famous Babson College from the United States, said the core mission of colleges and universities is to share knowledge and understanding, including the knowledge and understanding of what we are doing. I can give you another example. I'm working at Constructor University in Germany, formerly International University Bremen and Jacobs University Bremen. And our university was the first English-speaking university in the country. And when it became fashionable, approximately 15 years ago, many people from many universities came to learn about for example, what are we doing with German language, and how are we working with international students, and it helped enormously to improve our own practices. We also have example of Roskilde University,
we'll share that, I guess, on our LinkedIn, because we're actually out of time. We still want to take a couple of questions. So let me switch to the 10 lessons here. There's also one thing that I want you to walk away with after this, but let's do it after we answer questions, if there are any.